you getting yourself ready for our show?
Jigs and Bigs listeners, we got ourselves a brand new Tuesday. It means a brand new episode for you. Wow, I'll tell you what, after last week's show, we had quite a bit of discussion happening around the Jigs and Bigs camp. A lot of you guys getting very vocal. We'll touch a little bit about that as far as some of the feedback from last week's show. But this week, we have something amazing going on, guys. We got a brand new partner to announce in just a bit. Actually, if you're looking at the cover, the artwork of this show, you know who that partner is already. But man, we're very, very excited. We're going to talk all about that. We got some other things that we got to go over in Gear of the Week this week. I'm going to break down a very specific piece of gear that comes from one of our other partners, Reaction Tackle, that I am a massive, massive fan of. And maybe I'm the only one in this camp, but I'll explain why I'm so crazy about it, guys. We got a great show lined up. I got Who the Fuck is Joe Brown? I got Sean the Fisherman. Yeah, your boy did a little bit of fishing. We're going to talk about that, see how it all went. The holidays are coming. We got all kinds of stuff that we need to talk about with that. And you guys don't want to go too far. We got much more good stuff coming up. It's a short show this week, but it's a damn good one. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. Well, we got another amazing show lined up for you guys. Jigs and friggin' Bigs. It has been something, man. We're in this post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas sort of window, and we're busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. Your boy was working his ass off this week. And the fruits of all that labor actually have to do with the announcement we're going to make later on this segment. So stick around for that. Trust me, you don't want to go too far. Gentlemen, how are you this fine Monday morning as we record?
It's a Monday morning.
It is a Monday morning. No truer statement has ever been spoken.
It's good though. You know, it's a little different from the Sunday evenings. Coffee instead of
whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah. So still waking up a little bit, but it's all right.
Comes with the territory. Sean, how was your morning? I assume you, like me, were out nice and early, chauffeuring individuals, small individuals around the community.
Yeah, well, first, a big good morning to our jig heads and jigettes.
That's true. Yeah,
we haven't really recognized the jigettes in months. We got to give them some love.
I think I don't think we have a jigette in the house, but
they're listening.
It could happen. Oh, they're listening. I thought you meant in the chat, taking advantage of their jig head benefits.
Yeah, no. Just all of them out there. All of them out there in the ether.
All of them out there doing ether.
Hopefully not. Or hopefully. I mean, it's the holidays are upon us. Yeah. I drive my kids around still. We are getting closer to one of them having a license, which is good. You and I, this is completely off topic, but what a hell of a way to end the show. Have we ever discussed what the differences in requirements were from when you and I
Oh my God!
We're getting ready to get our licenses, and what they are now in our state.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, you guys had to take a test, right?
All right, so yeah, but it's an online thing. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It was a class. It was a 2-hour class. So parents have to take a 2-hour class so they can be certified, on-road instructors with their children. Which, in our case, back in the 90s, I mean, we'd hear stories of, my dad cracked a beer and got into the passenger seat and said, "Take me somewhere."
Yeah, exactly. Take me to Cumbies for some butts.
I need some butts and some scratchies and some more beer. So now we have to the parents have to take a 2-hour course.
Mm-hmm.
The kids, if they want to get their license, I believe, before 17 or 18? There's an age restriction that if they want to get a junior operator license, which is what it's called before 18, they have to go to driving school, which, I mean, I did. I don't know if you did.
Yep.
Which is smart. It knocks down the insurance costs for the policyholder. And then they have to do 40 hours in the car with their parents.
Yeah.
And that has to be documented just on a sheet. It's not like crazy. It's not like they're going to go through, your GPS tracking over 2 months or 3 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they have to do 18 hours. It's a combination, but it's 12 hours with a driving instructor from the school.
Yep.
And then it's supposed to be another 6 hours of observation in said car with that same instructor or one of the instructors. That can be substituted out. So right before these kids get their license, they've already got 48 hours minimum, or 58 hours minimum in a car doing their thing, which can be a giant pain in the ass. So we're trying to get my oldest licensed, and he is comfortable in my wife's car. He is not comfortable in my truck yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to push him to do something he's that uncomfortable with. So it's like, whenever I get a chance, if my wife is working from home, we can take her car to the school and he can drive and he's comfortable like today.
Yep.
And he can chip away, 25, 30 minutes that way.
Oh yeah.
But it's an uphill climb. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into this shit.
Oh hell yeah, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane. Not like, what did we have to do? There was no check. It was go to driving school. You get a certificate from that, which only goes to the insurance company. I mean, I remember some of our buddies would just become of age, never even have a learner's permit, and they would just get their license.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because you could do that. You get to a certain age, you could go and if you could pass the driving exam, you were good. That was it. And some of these folks, and I'm not going to name names, Jeff. I'm not going to name names, but some of these folks have been driving since they were like 13. You know what I mean?
Also happened, yes.
In small towns, hey, it is what it is. We were having this conversation just last night, actually, at my little annual cousin's Christmas get-together, and my wife had to sit through that course for Chloe, and I'm on deck for Delaney. I have to. That's the trade-off that we made. So now I have to sit in on that class. How have you been doing with being in the car with one of your offspring operating the motor vehicle?
It was rough at first.
Yep.
He's gotten a lot better. Really, it's fine tuning right now. He's a little heavy on the brake, so the car jerks when he stops.
Oh, yeah.
But he's getting better at that. He's aware of it.
Yep.
Yeah. There's myself, my wife, and the driving instructor are all kind of hammering down on saying, hey, you don't want to, if you jerk the car to a stop, the car behind you might hit you.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to slow down gradually. But at least we've identified the major issue. He's good with everything else.
Yeah, that's good.
Might drive a little slow, but you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Take your time.
Yeah.
Show up late for shit. It's okay. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Wild, man.
That's about it. I mean,
get ready, Joe. You're it's going to be like a short number of sleeps, and you're going to be in the same situation. And when Joe is in the passenger seat with Emma, watch the fuck out. What am I saying? Next year she's going to be driving the Skeeter around. So,
Yeah, she's already on my lap in the side by side, steering and stuff.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so she likes it.
That's awesome. So I mean, all that aside, like, how have you guys been doing as far as have you guys gotten out and done any fishing at all? Gotten out and experimented? Gotten freaky deaky with it?
I'm done for the year. I'm good. I have basketball now 6, if not 7 days of the week.
Yeah.
My fishing season is officially done. So
it sucks. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, believe me. And when
fishing's done for me.
Yeah.
But the boat got put away. So I got to give a shout out to somebody. So
all right.
Tim Reeves from Sherman Oil. I know I've talked to you guys like on the side about, storing my boat and whatnot. And, it's stored. So I'm a little bougie with the Skeeter. I store it in, heated, indoor storage.
Yep.
Yeah. And,
do you stop in, bro, Joe, do you stop in every night, have a beer and read to it before bed or what?
No, because it was so far away. It was up by Cabela's in Berlin. Sterling? Like right down the street.
It's all the way up there. Jesus.
It was.
It's like you sent it to summer camp then. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sent it off to school.
So you write to it.
College.
I got it. All right.
Yeah. So I got to give a shout out to Tim Reeves from Sherman Oil. So about 2.5-3 miles from my house, there's a gas station that recently was bought out. It was a gas station / like 4-bay mechanic shop. So Sherman Oil bought it out, and they have plans eventually down the road to make it, a different type of gas station. But until then, they had 4 bays open. And I noticed a friend of mine who works for that, or his family owns that company, his boat in there. So I reached out to him. He's an angler. I met him through the aluminum series, and I reached out to him, and long story short, my boat is now being stored in there, just a couple miles from my house. I have full access to it.
Yep.
I was paying about $400 a month for storage last year. Guess how much he charged me? They're charging me
about $350.
$20.
Nice.
I was going to say $100 a month. Oh my God.
Yeah. They really hooked me up. They really hooked me up. And they know I know a lot of, they're trying to get their name out there from purchasing that. Yeah. Obviously it's a small town. You're going to have your people like, we don't need a gas station, stuff like that. So,
of course,
they're trying to get their name out there and whatnot. And I'm going to help them as much as I can with that, because they plan on putting a diesel pump in there, which you're going to
need that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which there aren't many around here. So I did that. My week was actually pretty busy with fishing stuff, just not fishing. I will say I've had a ton of people reach out to me about last week's podcast.
Oh yeah, man.
A ton. Just great conversations. I had a ton of great conversations. Yep. People that, weren't listeners of the podcast before, that, I'm confident that they will be now. People that haven't had the opportunity, like the jig heads, to see us, see our faces while we record, who really enjoyed that. And I just had some cool conversation, people calling me, messaging me, texting me, all of it. And I'm sure you guys did too.
Oh yeah.
And then I just messed with the tackle a little bit. One thing I was able to do this week I really enjoyed is the dark horse stuff. I've been getting a lot of that from, obviously small batch companies. And I didn't really have the opportunity to like really look at it and break it down like I wanted to. And I actually took a day this past week and just like really was able to like look at everything like up close, not just fucking tie it on and go whip it, to really, because I'm impatient.
Yeah, of course.
But I really had the opportunity to really break down the stuff that they've been putting in the boxes. And I really enjoyed doing that. Making sure I do my due diligence and following the companies on the socials and stuff like that, kind of see what they got coming. And so I did that. Nice. That was awesome. And that's pretty much it, man. That was and then I had drill this past weekend. Sean knows how that is.
Yep.
Have you started your countdown yet?
Yes and no. We'll talk offline. Offline. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, we don't need to talk. They're waving another stripe. So you know how that is.
They're waving it. No, because you operated under a completely different set of rules than I did.
Oh, okay, that's true. Yeah, the reservist. Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll talk offline.
We'll talk offline. But yeah. So that was my week, man. Nothing crazy. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. And to piggyback off what you started with, Joe, about last week's episode. So I've gotten so many people reaching out. In fact, Ben Milliken reached out, which blew me away because I've, tried to reach out to him previously about being on the show, like when the show first started. So it was really, really cool. He had some really, really nice complimentary things to say about it. He was like, obviously, he's like, you guys have your own opinions and stuff, and kind of went off of that and, your own interpretations of what it was. And he goes, some of them were a little bit off base, but he's like, you guys had a really good objective kind of view to the whole thing, which that's just the TV, like the journalist in me. Like I try to be as objective as possible, but inject my own opinion where I can, obviously, to keep things spicy. You got to. It's got to happen. So it was really good to hear from Ben. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can get him on the show and talk about all kinds of other shit. but it was a good conversation. I will say this: I know it had gotten mentioned in the discussion that we had when we were doing the React portion, and we had, of course, Paul from Bog Hog was in here, and he reached out and asked about a couple of things. Actually, he had reached out about getting involved with the 200th episode, so I got to follow up with them about that today. And he also was following up, asking about like if we were going to do like a roundtable. I had a bunch of other bait makers reach out as well, which is awesome. I think that, maybe it won't necessarily be like a direct sort of like follow-up video, including like the local bait folks, but I think doing a roundtable would just be awesome. I think just having a conversation. And then, Joe, you and I were talking about it, and you had a great opinion on the idea of talking about the sport of fishing and that sort of generational split that's in there that causes a lot of friction. And I think that's an awesome discussion to have as well. So that's going to be cool. I got a handful of folks too that had commented and were real supportive of kind of the way we had, mentioned some things. In fact, one of them, Alex Rudd, he had commented the headliner I made where I was like, look, this is the way it is for everybody. You know what I mean? Like getting worked and working more for the same amount of money and basically being undervalued over and over and over again like that. And he left a really great comment on that headliner, which is amazing. So the feedback was great. The listening audience showed up because we have, for the number of listens that we have right now, it's on par with what the average would be for an episode that's been out for weeks. So this is it. It was a nice big ramp. In fact, it did the regular ramp up, it dipped down a little bit, and then ramped up again. So we have like two little lines on our graph that's like ding ding, where it's like the people really got to talking. So that was really, really great. That was awesome. The other thing that I've been working on this week is putting together a sheet full of links for affiliate links for our new partner. Our new partner, I'm going to say now, it's Omnia Fishing, which we are delighted to be working with. Omnia Fishing, and this goes back like 6 weeks in total, that we had started having a conversation, and I'm really interested in what they do. Now, they have more of a technological background instead of just being just a straight up retailer. They have a lot of information that can sort of direct you to baits for specific bodies of water. And they also have this program where they have these like ambassadors where they will provide information about areas that they fish, specific bodies of water, but not specific spots. Like it's not super. Like I've looked at some of these reviews, and people in the comments area might say, I'm looking for this, or I'm fishing around such and such, but nobody's marking any specific spots, just that body of water, which is amazing if you're traveling to another area. Essentially what this is the online equivalent of going to that local tackle shop, but getting angler info, not the 16-year-old kid that's working at Cabela's because there was a hiring blitz at the holidays. You know what I mean? Like you're getting real information here. There's also an Omnia Fishing app, which takes that almost to another level where you have different layers of their maps, like bottom contour. That blows my mind, like bottom contour mapping, things like that. So I was really excited when Omnia had expressed an interest, and we had our meeting, and they were very receptive to everything that we were doing, and I thought it was amazing because we're a very unique fishing podcast. We really are. I don't know. I feel like we kind of we're the oddball, I think, in a lot of ways, and I like that, and I celebrate that. I think it's a good thing, but the fact that Omnia was interested in working with us, that was huge. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just get into some of this info and give it to you guys. So what Omnia is doing right now is they're working with us as a partner. So that means that they're basically fueling our own fishing adventures and stuff. But they've been really, really generous to offer up a pretty big savings for Jigs and Bigs listening audience. They're offering up a 15% off discount for first-time customers. So you can use this code one time, to get in there, but I'll explain the follow-up and why this is so cool. The code is Jigs and Bigs first. And the and is not the word and, it's an ampersand, the little and sign. Jigs and Bigs first. You can use that. You can get 15% off your purchase. There are some exclusions, as there are with the major retailers that are out there. For instance, it won't work on specific brands that don't allow them to include discounts, and that's Daiwa, Shimano, G. Loomis, St. Croix, Megabass, Sims. There's a couple other outliers that are out there, but their selection is so huge that you can apply this to so much other stuff. So just keep that in mind when it comes to the discount code. Like, that's, unfortunately, it's out of our hands. Those brands control their pricing, and it is what it is. What's cool is that, if you're gonna, gear up, let's say you're getting ready for spring and you're like, I got to get some terminal, I got to get some lures, I got to get a bunch of line, I got to get this, if you lump it all together and you do that one purchase, you just save yourself 15% right off the top, which is great. You go ahead, you do that whole thing. So that big purchase, you get the most savings out of that. But the other thing is this. Now, if you're using Omnia and you opt to do some fishing reports on the bodies of water that you fish, and you list I was really like, for instance, I put, there's a local pond where I did great for really big largemouth this year. And I did really great on swim jigs after changing my presentation this year. And I was like, I'm going to file a report and do this way. And what happens is, if a user goes on to Omnia and is searching in that body of water and purchases, looks at your report and then clicks the link that's in there to make a purchase of that bait, you get a kickback in Omnia credit. So by being an engaging angler on their platform, and you just list off the baits that are working in different bodies of water, there's a reward for that. So you can then apply that credit later and save a bunch, which I think is fantastic. So I've already kind of been going through and putting some reports in here and there. They're a little bit all over the place, and I mean, sometimes you got to weigh. Do you want to give the juice for that spot? And that's up to your discretion. But I do love that it's not like geographical spots on a body of water. Like, I was here and this worked. It's just general. Like, this is what I used. And there's a comments area where you can put some stuff in there. And some folks share a lot of intel. Other folks, not so much. And that's what I like about it, is Omnia kind of gives you that safety net of like, we're not going to burn your spots like some of these other apps. Like, you put something out there that's public, and you're getting a kickback in credit for Omnia Fishing, which I think is amazing. So Jigs and Bigs first is the promo code. You guys can go ahead and check that one out. Get to it and get yourself all geared up, which is freaking unbelievable. Now, the other thing is this. I had worked a lot last week. Once we had confirmed everything early in the week, I had started working with their affiliate link maker and just putting some stuff together. And this is nice because if we talk about a specific piece of equipment, let's say a perfect opportunity actually would be the Gear of the Week segment. Let's say we talk about a specific piece of equipment that Omnia Fishing sells in Gear of the Week. Well, this way we can put an affiliate link directly there. And if that's something that you're going to go out and buy, you guys can then click that link and directly support the show, which is unbelievable. And we appreciate that. We think that's amazing. So go ahead and check that out. I am listing all of the links that I put together in this caption in the description here. You can go there, but that's a living list. So if you guys want to go and check this out, I've added this to the Jigs and Bigs website. There is an affiliate link promo code section. You can click that link, and we're expanding on that as things, as they develop. Some of these links are going to change up over time, and I've mentioned to Joe and Sean that they're more than welcome to send over, basically just share the links of the products that they want to include. I'll create an affiliate link and we'll make little pockets where they can be, maybe we'll leave them a big mystery. We'll just have it all mixed up. Who knows? But it's there for you guys to check out if you're ever curious. And of course, you can always check the description here for a link directly to that page. You can do all of this. We want to try to streamline this as much as possible. And that's sort of the goal. So we're stoked on that. What are some of the things that I listed? Well, I listed, let's see, let me go through. I listed a handful of rods that they sell, and I put these links together basically by like sort of what I use them for. So like I've got a jig and worm rod, I've got a jerkbait rod in there, I've got a finesse rod, I've got my workhorse rod, things like that. You can go and check that out. I've got reels as well. Now, I had gone and selected all the reels that I use with affiliate links, so you guys can check all that stuff out. There are some that weren't in stock, so I wasn't able to create a link for them. When they show up, I'm going to to add them back in. I've also got plastics. And of course, like with plastics and lures, the sizes and the colors, that's up to you. These are just the models of things that I have used that I really, really like. So I put my go-to craw, paddle tail, drop shot worm, Ned baits, toads, frogs, grubs, stick bait, you get it, stuff like that. The soft plastics that I generally go to that are like just first in my mind, boom. I've also got a handful of hard baits in there. I don't throw a ton of hard baits. I don't. I tend to lean more toward single hook baits for the most part, but I do have a good list of items that I like in here. Some of my favorite jerk baits, some of my favorite rattle traps, square bills in here. I even specifically have a Fritz side crank in there that I really like, and even like some of the go-to like glide baits that I've used that I'm like, yeah, this is a great place to start that I think others might get some use out of. Wire baits, we've got inline spinners, we've got spinner baits, jigs, of course. Wouldn't be Jigs and Bigs without jigs. I got a couple of different jigs in here. I've got a really, really good jig that I like from Picasso. It's what I use in my finesse swim baits, and it's got really, really nice titanium weed guards that are super, super light, but super, super strong. I've got my go-to swim jig in there. I've also got my go-to chatterbait in there as well. And then I've got hooks and apparel and accessories. And some of the accessories that I've listed in there, some are clothing. There's a gift card in there. I've got scents and markers that I use, stuff that I really like. I've got accessories for tackle storage. And then of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't have a Jigs and Bigs, or not a Jigs and Bigs, if I didn't have a catch board listed in there, because I think it's a good idea to have a couple of catch boards, to be perfectly honest. I see a lot of value in that. But yeah, Omnia Fishing, glad to have them as part of the family. You'll notice in this week's episode that the thank you spot for the partner includes Omnia now, but we've also shortened it down a little bit. With the focus being more, check the caption of the show, because we're trying to get you guys to go and check that out. So if you want to save a little bit on your Omnia purchase, if you're going to order something from Dark Horse Tackle, your promo codes and everything are listed right over there. If you're ordering from eBay, same thing. Reaction Tackle, Torres, like all that stuff. So all of our partners, we appreciate you, and we're really, really excited to have Omnia be part of the family once again. Pretty awesome. I did get out and fish, though, this weekend. Friday, I should have gotten out Friday, to be perfectly honest. I had kind of looked at the forecast Thursday night and kind of had written Friday off, and it was a stupid idea. I should have taken some time to get out and fish on Friday, but I didn't. I did, however, get out on Saturday, and Saturday was sort of a weird freaking day. So Saturday, I just did a little bank send at a spot I like to fish quite a bit. And it's, I think Friday the temps had started to warm up a little bit, air temp wise. And it was kind of nice. So I was curious to see how Saturday was going to work. I had gotten out and I had thrown a bunch of different, presentations. I had an idea of what was going to end up working. The only thing I managed to hook into was a small fall fish, like an 8 or 9 inch fall fish. And as I was going to grab my camera, he squirmed right out of my hands, fell right back into the water. So unfortunately, I don't have any photographic evidence of that trophy. Try as hard as I might. So I did, I managed to not take a skunk this week, which is okay. That was fine. But I will say Saturday night afterwards, so my wife had asked me, she's like, hey, how long do you think you're going to be out? And my thought was I was probably going to get back about 4. And I had told her I was going to take her out for dinner. And she's like, maybe make it 3. And I'm like, really? I'm like, we're going up to Greenfield. And she's like, oh, yeah, maybe make it 3:00. We'll see. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll go. We'll see what happens. I fished for about 15 minutes and I got a text. She goes, no, 4's fine. No rush. And I was like, this bitch is taking a nap. She's taking a nap, isn't she? And I was right. It's exactly what it was. She had laid down for a nap and was comfortable. I was like, screw it, we can go at regular, which is good because the restaurant we went to, they didn't open until 5 anyway. When we got there was a line around the door. Like, how often do you guys see that at a restaurant you're going to where you see a line outside in December?
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very rarely.
It's crazy.
If ever.
So I go and, I catch this one fish and I'm like, it is what it is. Let's call it. I got home just before 4 o'clock. She's like just waking up. And I was like, I had a feeling you were taking a nap. She jumps in the shower. I get ready to go and we hit the road. We went to this restaurant in Greenfield called Hope and Olive. It's been around for a hot minute. In fact, I probably would say like since about 2009, I think, or 2010, like sometime around then is when I first heard of them. And I've got friends that are in that area that rave about this place. And it's just one of those things. Like my wife and I, we don't make it out to Greenfield, Mass a lot. We really don't. Like, there's not a whole lot of draw up that way. I was in a band. I was up there once a week. I was in a band. We would practice at the guitarist house up there, and that's about as regular as a Greenfield visitor. And that was the only reason I went into town. That was it. Man, what an amazing experience at this restaurant. And Sean, with your dietary restrictions, this is your spot.
Copy that.
Yeah. Like I noticed that right away. I was like, oh shit. So we get there and like, Holly and I like to look at, we like to think we're professionals when it comes to, good eats and good drinks. We got seating at the bar. We ordered a round of cocktails. Holly had ordered an Earl Grey martini. She's not a big vodka martini fan of any kind. She like a gin martini every once in a while, but not really much for vodka. This cocktail blew her away. She's like, this is awesome. I had I forget what it was called, but it was a tequila based cocktail with a little coconut, and it was out of this freaking world. Like just a well-crafted drink. So we started with that. They had a really great beer menu, and I'm like, I'm going to shift over to beer for dinner. And she's like, I think I'm going to do the same thing too. I had this one IPA from a brewery called Little Willow. Unbelievable. Super drinkable, yet juicy at the same time. Not super duper heavy, and partnered really well with my steak frites, which was out of this world. Unbelievable. It came with a little bit of garlicky kale and this compound butter that was absolutely dynamite. Holly had a steak salad. And then, of course, the dessert menu comes around, and there was a ginger molasses cake with what was the icing? There was something special. Oh, maple icing. Holy Jesus. Absolutely out of this world. Amazing dinner. And then this is great. We get home and my wife and I, we're chilling, and we get home and I'm like, hey, you want to smoke a doob in the driveway? She's like, yeah, sure. So we dive into some pre-rolls that I have. We're sitting there and everything's good. And I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, 2 drinks. Plus I was drinking water while I was there. I'm like, I gotta pee. I was like, let's get back in the house. So we finish up our pre-roll in the driveway. We come back inside. I run up and I go into the bathroom. My wife is downstairs with my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter had hung out and was actually trying to earn some extra money. She has the entrepreneurial bug, this kid. Or she wants to be earning somehow. She went up and put in a job application at a local hot dog spot nearby that is famous in Holyoke. And she can't work until March. She's got to wait until her birthday. But she's like, nope, I want to get in there and I want to get a rapport going. I'm like, you're 13. You use the word rapport? Okay. All right. She's like, I want to kind of get that started. So she's going and doing her thing. Well, back to my weekend, Saturday night, my wife narked us out. Delaney goes, hey, how come why does it smell like smoke in here? And I'll tell you why. It's because she was burning a candle that was almost at the end, and the wicks were there was a little bit of smoke in there. I'm like, I could tell it was there. And then my wife goes, oh, your dad and I were burning one in the driveway.
I'm like, you're amazing. You're an amazing woman.
I'm like, you just narked us out to our own kid. Thanks. You're cool.
Jerk.
So yeah, that was it. That was it for Saturday. Sunday, I got up and I was debating going out and doing some fishing. And then I noticed that's where the rain was. That everybody was talking, we were going to get all this rain all weekend, and it kind of just kept getting pushed back and back and back. And I was like, all right, so maybe I'm not going to go out again on Sunday. I was thinking about maybe going back up the Shears and checking out that spot where I got on those brown trout. No go there, so I just kind of hung out at home. But it is a little fishing related because, like I mentioned earlier, I had just last night, this is Sunday night, had my annual cousin's Christmas. My cousin Nikki organizes this. She puts the whole thing together. She does a great job. Last year, we had gone out for dinner. I think we went to the Student Prince, the fort in Springfield, and it was great. We had a really, really nice dinner. Everybody's all dressed up. Then we went out to another bar and had cocktails. It's always a good time. And this is the same group of cousins too, by the way, that we all got matching tattoos this past summer. Same group. So this year was different. We got together at a local Elks bar, which one of my cousins is managing. And we had this little get together over there. Everybody just kind of brought like something to snack on. And the bar was there for drinks. We ended up ordering a pizza and just kind of hung out. We played a lot of games. It was a lot of fun. We had a really, really good time. But this year, I think the previous year we did a Yankee swap, and those are fun. I like a Yankee swap. I really do. Because like it's a fun way, and it's also the sense of chaos. I like that. This year, this is fucking crazy. My cousin sprung this on us. I don't think with enough knowledge ahead of time or enough prep time, but she goes, we're going to pull names. And this year, instead of just having a budget, like you have to make your gift. It's got to be something that you made. So, my wife is pretty crafty, or as crafty as some would be, but she's also got a really, really insane high standard. So like if she's going to make somebody a blanket, it has to be of the quality of a blanket you could go in and buy at a store. You know what I mean? Like it can't look homemade. She's not okay with that. It's crazy. What ended up happening was she had the names that we had chosen. She was like, or the names that were picked for us. One of them was a Giants fan, so she started making a blanket for them in those colors, red, white, and blue. As the blanket started to take shape, she didn't like the way the colors were working and abandoned that idea. So then she went to like candle making. All of a sudden, she's a candle maker. All right, Mrs. Yankee. So she goes and purchases this setup, and it's all good. The other name that was picked is a pretty well-rounded beer drinker. Likes a lot of craft beers, visits a lot of breweries, stuff like that. So my wife was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make these. Now, keep in mind, this was like a plan. She had said, this is what's happening. And I was like, tell me what you need me to do. And she's like, nope, I got it. She was going to make these beer coasters out of there were pictures from breweries, I think. And epic fail. Like it just didn't come together the right way. I don't know if it was the photo paper wasn't reacting with the glue that she was using or what was going on. But I woke up Sunday morning and she's like, yeah, so we got to figure something out. And I was like, okay, this was my backup plan, was to go to Table and Vine, which is a very nice proprietor of spirits, beer, wine, and all kinds of other grocery items that would pair well with that. And they're big in the gift basket world, but you can go and create your own. You can select the stuff and they have somebody there that'll assemble a basket right there for you. But again, okay, so we kind of made it homemade. That was the plan. We were going to leave with about 90 minutes to spare to go and get this done. And while we were there, we were going to grab some stuff for charcuterie, which we did so much cheese, just so much cheese. We brought all that, and of course, my wife is like, it's like noon. She's like, "Hey, we're gonna be out kind of late, having some drinks. Why don't we take a nap?"
This is the point in the story where Bobby and Holly fucked up.
So we decide that we're gonna take a nap. She sets an alarm. I get up. I jump in the shower. I'm getting ready, and as I'm getting ready, I hear a notification on my phone from Facebook. You have an event today
at 5 p.m.
We thought it was at 6. So here we are. You guys ever seen the end of Goodfellas? When Henry Hill is running around all over town, he leaves Michael to stir the fucking meatballs because if he fucking doesn't stir the meatballs, he's going to burn them. And he's running all over the place. He's all coked up. He's got a helicopter following him. That is the only type of the only scene I can set up for how it was getting to this party. Because here we had like, oh yeah, we have like 90 minutes of time to go and, kind of put something together, to now we're like, what do you have? Fuck. We showed up and it was like, the baskets I think went over fine. Some of my cousins did some amazing shit. Nikki's boyfriend had put together this was fucked up, a bunch of trim, right, that you would put on wall, right, baseboard, right, put all this together and put a bunch of different screws, different heads, different everything together. Basically, it was like something out of the movie Saw. And and my cousin Jeff, his wife April, he had her name, so she's there, and it came with a screwdriver, and it was wrapped in fucking painter's tape. So she's peeling all this tape off of it, and it took her about 45 minutes to like unscrew every single thing and get it together. There was $41 in cash in there. It was the weirdest shit ever. It really did. It looked like fucking Saw. It was like, next year, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to end up waking up in an abandoned building, handcuffed to like a fucking radiator. That's going to be the Christmas gift.
So that's similar to what one of my cousins did last year, where they buy scratch tickets and man, I think there was even a couple of small bottles of liquor in there and money, and you layer it in a ball of cellophane.
So we played that game too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think your prizes were better than our prizes.
I didn't even do it. I was cleaning up the kitchen. I host, so I'm like, you guys have fun. I got shit to do.
Yeah, sometimes those games are great for that, because then you're like, I got shit I got to do. You guys occupy yourself with this. It's like a chew toy for the crowd.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, we did that game as well, and it was a blast. I think I got a couple of coasters. And it was a lot of fun. We had ourselves a really good time. The gift I got from Dave, thank you, Dave. I appreciate this. Very well thought out. It also was a gift basket. It had a couple of personalized beer glasses in there that said, I think it was like Rob's Catfish Ale on there, and there were a package of gummy worms and a package of Swedish fish in the glasses. There also were some Rapala pliers. You guys know that old Eagle Claw scale, the spring-loaded one, the rectangular-shaped one.
I think I still have one.
Well, I got a brand new one.
I didn't know they still made those fucking things.
Oh, yeah, man. And I was like, all right, cool. That's pretty awesome. Some Zoom trick worms. And this is the best. It was a multi-pack of jitterbugs and hula poppers. And I'm a sucker for those old-style lures. Like, for me, I probably won't be throwing any of those. You never know. It's possible, because they are like, they're brand new. But the vintage ones, those styles, I'm a sucker for those. And eventually I'm going to have something lined up to display them all, because I'm a sucker for that shit. I love it. And did I mention the Zoom? Yeah, it was just awesome. Unbelievable. So thank you so much, David. I appreciate it. I opened this thing up and I was like, oh, this thing is freaking amazing. Oh, and a bottle of one of my favorite local beers. And it's not like I'm not a big beer drinker in the sense of like, I'm going to kill, 6 or 8 beers or 10 beers at a setting or anything like that. I like to drink what I would consider, I like to get a little more experimental with my beers, and I'll probably have 1 or 2. Like, it's just so many fucking calories, but I'd rather have that higher quality. Like last night, I knew I was going to be drinking a lot. I was drinking ultras. I think I drank 6. That's a lot for me. There's a bottle of Berkshire Brewing Company's Coffee House Porter, which is so delicious and just out of this world. So I'm going to hang on to that. I'm going to crack that bomber open the next camping trip that I have, which should be coming up soon. I'm hoping within the next month I can get out and do some camping. But yeah, that was my week. That was my week right there. And I would say a busy week. There was a lot going on. Obviously, everything with Omnia, I think, makes it kind of exciting. But I'm stoked, and I'm stoked for the listeners, and I'm stoked for us. I think this is a really, really, really good thing, guys. We got anything else that we want to talk about before we go to break?
That time of year, man.
It is. Well, especially around Christmas, it definitely is. So I had been, I had asked, and I should say this about the Omnia stuff. Like normally when we announce a new partner, we do it in a way that we have them on the show. We have a conversation. Like we did this obviously with Zach and Josh at Dark Horse Tackle. We've done it with Three Bells Outfitters. All that stuff. So when we have a partner on, we like to have them on around that time. We had to do this announcement because I really felt like with this time of year, if folks are doing any kind of fishing, if they're shopping for fishing gear before the holidays for one reason or another, if they're buying for a friend of theirs that's an angler, a family member that's an angler, something like that. I wanted to make sure that our listeners had as much time with this promo code before the holidays as possible. So we will be having somebody on to represent Omnia Fishing in the future. That's kind of in the works. It may not necessarily be one of the folks that we had in the meeting that's from Omnia directly. This might end up being a name that you're familiar with that represents Omnia. So this could be pretty cool. I'm excited to see what happens. But the future is wide open when it comes to Omnia. If you're in Minnesota, where Omnia is headquartered, there is a store. You could go right into the store and you basically put your order in at a little kiosk. It's a computer. You put your order in right there and it's at the warehouse. They just go ahead and hook you right up right there. I believe you can use that promo code right there as well. So if you happen to be in Minnesota and you're nearby the Omnia warehouse and you want to put your order in there, you could go for it and make it happen. But pretty freaking awesome, man. Yeah, so expect to see somebody from Omnia on the show in the future. I've got some other listeners. Oh, one other thing I want to mention too. I got a really, really, really fucking cool DM this week from a listener named Janelle. Who is on the East Coast and is crazy about the outdoors, has been listening for a long time, and had just really, really kind words to say. And I'm going to be having her on the show in the future. I know that there's some content going on both on YouTube and also a podcast. So it'll be exciting to see where that all goes. But I love, like, it was just a home run of week all the way around. Like getting good feedback about our episode, getting good feedback like that, like I got from Janelle just about the show in general. Like really, 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 really fantastic stuff. And if we haven't mentioned it enough in previous episodes, the 200th episode is coming up so unbelievably soon. It's going to be here before you know it. That is January the 13th in Chicopee, Massachusetts at the Munich House. Tickets are available. Go to jigsandbigs.com. There's also a link that we're going to put in the description of this podcast as well. So you guys can go and get your tickets. I had a good conversation this week with Cody, Lachwood Fishing, and OG Scuba Steve. In fact, I think some of you guys may have even seen the live that I did on Friday with OG Scuba Steve. That was really, really good. And they're supposed to be coming up for the show, so that could be awesome. And while I'm on the topic of Lachwood, so did I send you guys the story that Lachwood sent to me? No. Okay. So I have an idea, and I talked about this in that live I did on Instagram. I really want to involve, especially in this slow part of the season, I really want to involve that Lachwood Storytime segment. I want to try to make that a reality. Now, obviously, that includes me writing some kind of a disclaimer because your boy's not looking to get canceled. And I had a conversation with Cody about this, and I think what we did is this. I don't want to say the words he's going to type. And I don't want to make you guys say them either. So we're going to let AI do it. So what we're going to do is this. Cody he's more of a storyteller. It works better if he's in person. It really does. And I told him, I said, you can record using this app on your phone and then just either text it to me, or if it's too large of a file, I'll give you a link and you can Dropbox it. And he's like, all right, cool. And he's like, actually, man, he goes, telling a story like that's a little fucked up. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to edit this. Don't worry about it. He's like, it's better if I have somebody to bounce it off of versus, just talking to a machine. And I was like, okay, all right, I get it. It's not for everybody. What he wants to do is he's just going to text me these stories, and I think I'm going to start with the one. I think we're going to include it in this episode for you guys. I'm going to try to. If it's in here, enjoy it. If it's not, oh God, then you know it was really bad. But he put a story together because he's got a million tales that will shock the majority of people. I think we're going to put it in with this show. I'm going to try it. We'll see what we can do. It's going to take a little bit of work, but I'm going to put that in for you guys. What? Chrissy says, oh no, I thought you were going to say she decided to try making beer. Oh no. No. She definitely didn't. Yeah, so all kinds of good stuff happening. We got that segment that's going to be coming up. We're going to take a short break, guys. We're going to do a bunch of our stuff and come back. This is going to be a 2-segment show this week. We're just going to do one split right in the middle. Keep things nice and easy. Sean, did you have something you want to add in there?
I did. This totally slipped my mind. I did have one fishing related thing this week. I wanted to give a little shout out. Remember, we talked about my, I have a generator outside my house, which is nice, and it does require maintenance.
Yep.
So the maintainer, Stan Davis, comes out from Worcester, owns his own business, does generator maintenance. His son, Brody Davis, big listener, 10 years old. My first question to Stan was, "You let him listen to us?"
Yeah, that's
Stan says, "Yeah, most of the show." So when Stan was over, I said, well, hold on. Let me see what I got downstairs. I'll slap something together for Brody. So make sure he's set to go out on the water. So unknowingly, little thank you for providing some gear to a 10-year-old through me. Nor'easter. Had an extra hat, went to Brody. I had some Naqua stickers, fired him those. Mm-hmm. We did have a spare fresh baits sampler pack. So that went to him. And
nice.
I had an A-Bay lure that Chris painted that was a size I don't normally use, but in a pattern that I do.
Oh.
And Chris absolutely, thumbs up, stamped on that. Said, yeah, get it to him. So
nice.
Brody got a nice package of stuff when his dad got home, and I got a thank you text later that afternoon. So Brody, thanks for listening. Do not repeat what you hear on this podcast. And good luck on the water this year, buddy.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. See, and again, here I am in the show. I'm like, yeah, I'm sparking a doob with my wife in the driveway.
It's all right. And I forgot to put it in the notes, so I'm a piece of shit. Don't say that, Brody. Don't say piece of shit. Not until you're at least 12.
Yeah, 12 is a good time for piece of shit,
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good time for piece of shit. All right, we're going to take a short break, guys. When we get back, we've got Gear of the Week. We will see you guys with more after this. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We got good stuff coming up. Jigs and Bigs. Don't go too far. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form podcast content. We need to thank Dark Horse Tackle, Omnia Fishing, A-Bay Lure, The Bay House, and The Ship Motel. We can't forget about Three Bells Outfitters, Torres Sunglasses, and of course, Reaction Tackle. Be sure to check the description of this podcast for any associated affiliate links or promo codes they've generously provided our listening audience. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one with the impeccable taste in fishing podcasts. Bobby Roast Beef here with a little call to action for all Jigs and Bigs listeners. We're opening up our hotline to you. Now you can call us to sound off about almost anything at 413-324-8519. Want to submit someone for our FTG segment? Call us at 413-324-8519. Care to maybe suggest a topic for just the tip or bait of the week? Call us at 413-324-8519. Maybe you just want to give us or anyone else a little shout out on the show, or you want to suggest a guest for the beef seat. You guessed it. Call us at 413-324-8519. The Jigs and Bigs hotline is there for you to leave a message with us 24/7. Just call 413-324-8519. Also, you can check that number in the notes of this podcast.
Okay, gearheads, it's time to talk tools. Jigs and Bigs Gear of the Week.
Oh boy, it is time for Gear of the Week, guys. Jigs and Bigs this week. This week we're focusing on a piece of tackle organization that I have been rolling with, and I've been using multiples and multiple sizes of for quite some time. And those are bait binders. These are like little plastic bag envelopes that basically you can create all of your baits in a booklet that you can have right out in front of you, all of your plastics. And there's two different sizes that I primarily use. I use the small one because Reaction Tackle makes a small, a medium, and a large one. I have a small one that I keep. It goes back and forth between my sling bag for bank fishing, and I also will just throw it under my seat when I'm kayaking, because this way it gives me quick access to a bunch of different stuff. I have a larger one, the large one that I use exclusively for soft plastic swim baits, up to 5 inches is what I keep in there. And I do it that way so I can keep them nice and organized. Like I'll find a handful of colors that I like, and I'll say, here are my 2.8s, here are my 3.5s, here are my 3.8s, here are my 4.8s. And I'll just kind of mix them up that way. And I basically have them all laid out in front of me. I can just flip through what I'm looking for and I'm good to go. You can obviously make this adjustment however you like, but the primary one I want to talk about is that small one. Now, I want to say there are 6 large envelopes that go the entire shape, the entire size, the rectangular shape, Ziploc bag style pages that you can put a variety of baits into. And then I think there's a half dozen, but there's 2 different stacks of the smaller sized ones. Really what this gets down to is like 3-inch and smaller baits and 4-inch and larger baits. And then I like to take my pages and do one for stick baits. Stick baits and flukes, I kind of keep those together. Then I do a page that is trick worms and other, more finesse worms. The occasional ribbon tail might end up in there, depending, because this is going to evolve. It doesn't stay the same all the way through the year. Or for the body of water, if I'm fishing a body of water where, like when I went to Chick, where shad was more the presentation, I had a lot more shad style plastics in here just so I could keep my bag close by and have these ready to go with a variety. And again, I'm not bringing the kitchen sink. Just enough. And that's why this is so good, especially for a bank angler, because you can take the stuff that the go-to stuff. I've got another one for craws. I've got another one for creatures. And then I've got one for a mix of paddle tails, swim baits. In the smaller flaps, that gets a little bit more random. I keep a lot of grubs in there. I keep some TRD style, like Ned baits. I keep a lot of downsized creature baits because I use those a lot for Neds as well. And what else do I keep in there that's interesting? Oh, like crappie baits too. Like the really, really small baits I keep in those small packages. And it works out really great. It's simple. I've had that small bait binder for, I think I got it in 2020 is when I first started using it. And it's freaking awesome. It's great. It's held up. I've left it in my kayak when it's rained. It's gotten used and abused over and over and over again. It's tough as nails. The other thing I like is that there are 2 separate zipper pockets that are on there. So this is really good if you've got a small pair of pliers that you want to keep in there as a backup. If you want to put even your wallet or something in there, you could. I keep one pocket I keep dedicated to the colors of the Spike It markers that I like to have on hand the most. So I've got because sometimes lugging around a little jar of JJ's Magic just isn't conducive. I've done that in my tackle bag before. I've spilled the garlic chartreuse JJ's in my bag and it was not fun. But the markers, a little bit easier cleanup, a little bit easier, a little bit more protected. Keep them right in those pockets. They don't move around loose. The caps aren't going to come off on you. It works out really, really nicely. And then there's a grommet that goes through with a carabiner. So you can clip this on the outside of a bag if you want and have easy access to it. It's just one of these great ways. And this tip kind of came to me. I've been doing a lot of eyeballing of BFS, really wanting to take a dive into this. There's a couple of finesse presentations that I like to have on hand. One of those being a drop shot, and the most I really find myself needing another finesse combo. I really do. Like, just as another option, just so I can have switch back and forth and not have to fuck around, retying a drop shot or not. If sometimes I want to go back and forth between the two. So I really am going to be dedicating my medium light combo to drop shotting. I love it. It's the perfect setup. But it also is really great for throwing these super light baits. So I've been throwing around the idea of getting into BFS to kind of expand on that a little bit. And I was watching some content, and I'm watching, a lot of these folks are talking about downsizing a lot of their stuff when they're going out. And specifically if you're fishing small rivers or creeks where you're actually getting into the water and moving around. It's, you want to be as streamlined as you can. And one of the bait binders here makes it easy for you to go ahead and just keep all your plastics in one spot, flip through nice and organized. You're changing a plastic. Maybe you didn't completely shred that plastic when you put it on the jig head. You can save it, put it back in the binder. Then you've got it if you need it. So that's pretty much it for Gear of the Week. Check them out. Reaction Tackle is the website you're going to want to check out, reactiontackle.com. 3 sizes there. If you've got, the space, maybe check out the medium. The small is great for your banks ends or being able to go back and forth. I love this. Metal Jones chimes in. He goes, those markers are also great when you forget your tourney identifier card. Dude, I wish I could tell you I didn't know the pain of having to write your identifier multiple times on your hand in orange and having it reek of garlic the whole time. But I've been there a couple of times. I'm fairly certain that Sean has judged pictures where I've had to painfully draw in an orange on because the chartreuse wouldn't show up. And it's the worst in July, man. You start sweating and that marker just comes right off you. It really does. Your marks a lot and your Sharpies, they stay. Yeah, it's good stuff. I highly recommend it. And actually, that's another good thing that those pockets are good for, an identifier. If you're out and you're doing a multi-species scavenger hunt and you want to keep your identifier where you're going to remember it, well, you're not going to forget. No, I'd like to say you're not going to forget your soft plastics, but I would do it. And there are motherfuckers out there that also would forget their fucking soft plastics, like actual champions. And, it's just one more step you can avoid. Keep your identifier in there. That's some handy shit, Zach. Good dude. That's why we pay you the big bucks, man. I love that shit. I do have a question for you two guys before we wrap up, before we get into this final segment. What's on your Christmas list this year for fishing stuff? Not stuff maybe that you're going to have your wife go and get or whatever, but where you're like, I might buy myself a little bit of a present. What's on your Christmas list?
New bank charger for my boat.
That'll do it.
Getting rid of the Minn Kota, going with the Ionic, so I have no issues. So hopefully,
there you go.
It's going to be my purchase. I got to keep it kind of chill because I just bought a truck. So that's kind of my birthday and Christmas gift for the next 6 years.
I hear you. No, it makes sense. I just bought tires this week. I'm going and they're going to be showing up, I think, next week, and I've got an appointment to have them installed. So you and I got to go do some mudding, man.
All right.
I might need you to pull me out.
That's all right.
How about you, Sean? What's your what's on your shopping list or your Christmas list for fishing items?
I got 2 things. One is I'll be switching over. Taking the live scope off the NAR this year and putting it onto one of my ultimate propels. Yeah. And so I'm going to be switching over to a I forget the name. I forget the brand, but a Hex Pull 30. So that is that is a transducer mount for your live scope that it can actually swing up, because currently the one I have, you actually have to disengage and put into your footwells, and it gets in the way of pedaling. So you actually have to pull the entire transducer and the pole out.
But this can stay installed and just move out of the way?
Yes. Let me tell you what the brand is. It's a Railblazer Hex Live Pull 30.
Nice.
And it's pretty much made for kayaks. If Joe were to jump in on this and get one, he has a Live Pull 60 that's made for boats, for bass boats.
So I actually had one of those when I had my kayak. That's what it's the arm that goes on the side and then comes up.
It swings down. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had live scope on there?
No. I just had it for my. I had just for my transducer when I had
so this
my
is
side view.
This is new, Joe. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is designed for live scope. So you might there's been a ton of swing arm transducer mounts out there. I don't know which one you had, but this is relatively new. This past
I just remember it was the Railblazer one.
Yeah. And then the other thing, this is the time of year where I like to stock up on 600-yard spools of the line I use. Yeah. So I'll be getting a lot of Seaguar and Vizex this year. Like I said, I ran out of 8. I went through a whole 600 yards of 8 last year. And what do I need? 6. I need 8. I need 20, 15, and 12. 8, 20, 15, 12, and I'll be all right. So
nice.
Hopefully 1 or 2 of those get to me, and the rest I'll pick up.
Yeah, there
probably
you go.
From Omnia. I should check and see if they have them. I did not think when I was looking through all the lures and stuff. I didn't think about line when I was looking at Omnia.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's kind of nice. I went through and I was like, oh shit, I started a wish list. I'm like, I'm like, these are some things that I'm going to be looking at. Okay, for me, I mentioned the BFS stuff specifically. There's a reel that I'm looking at that's called a Dark Wolf. It's relatively budget friendly. I think it comes in around like $80. But it performs pretty well. And I'm looking around it. I'm really kind of hung up on what BFS rod I'm going to look for, because I'm looking for a true BFS rod. Like, I'm looking to throw 132nd ounce baits. Like really being able to focus on throwing really, really light stuff. I've looked at a handful of other ones, and just the way that they're rated, it's more like, they're rated for the lightest is like an 1/8 ounce, which is okay. So I'm looking for a very specific rod here. I'm not 100% sold on one. I did see a couple of Dobbins ones that look really good. That might fit the bill, but there's a couple other brands out there too that look like they might be the magic move. So we'll figure that out when we get there. And then
what I am going to tell you on that, Bobby.
Yeah.
Do not get the Corrado.
You're not the first person that's told me about that. Yeah. I
told you mine fucking fell apart down at Hartwell, right?
Oh, it fell apart. Really?
Fell apart.
That's
yep. The whole handle mechanism just came right off. Spring shot out. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
While I was reeling. Yep. I had to fucking hand drag the line in.
That's crazy. Now, what are you using for a reel? You got a Corrado BFS?
Yeah, it's a Corrado BFS.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So it just fell right apart on me.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. I was not too happy about that.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm the Dark Wolf, and then there's a Daiwa reel that looks amazing, but that's a little bit more higher. Like I gotta know this is the move. I have a feeling that I'm probably gonna like it, but we'll see what happens. That's why I'm trying to like figure it out. But yeah, some of this BFS stuff I think would be awesome. Just to kind of have a blast with. Really, I'm thinking super small swim baits, super small moving baits, wicked light jerk baits. Shit like that could be a ton of fun. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's kind of on my radar right there. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot. I'm going to be doing actually all of my line and stuff I'm going to be ordering soon through Reaction. In fact, actually, Reaction Tackle, so there's a couple of things going on. Reaction Tackle is sending a backpack to get some reviews. This has been out of stock for a while. And actually, they're like, we want you to review it because you're doing bank fishing right now. It makes a lot of sense. They hit me up. They had a return. Somebody had sent one back in and changed their mind on it. And they're like, we're going to send it to you so you can review it and talk about it, because as soon as it's in, it's out. It just sells out right away. But they do have another bag Reaction Tackle makes that is pretty interesting. And it's a what they call their extra large tackle bag. And it's designed to carry 3,700 boxes. And that's kind of always been my issue. It's been like, I really like having the 3,700 size box for the kayak, because I've got a bunch of waterproof ones already. So in my kayak bag, that makes a ton of sense. But what I'm trying to do is create like this middle zone for loading. Like the other stuff that I'm getting to the point now where I've outgrown the storage for my tackle, and I need to do a little bit more, and I may want to have different options with me. And I think I'm going to put this bag and just kind of leave it in the vehicle with itemized, really organized, like nothing goes in here wet type thing. You know what I mean? Like everything I'm either picking stuff out specifically for a trip, or, you know, maybe I'll give you an example right now, like with my day boxes. I carry a jerkbait all year round, but I usually will only carry 1 or 2 in my day box. But this time of year, I'll carry like 5, you know, various sizes and colors if need be. So for me, that works out great because seasonally things will kind of change a little bit because I fish until it's hard water. I'll be out there. So there's certain presentations that have worked for me seasonally, things that I'm going to retire. I'm going to take the frogs out of my box. I'm going to take out a bunch of the topwater out of my box as we get into this season right here. That's going to open up real estate in the day box. It lets me do a little bit more. And I'm thinking that this extra large bag might be a good place to kind of just keep the itemized stuff to take from. And then the kayak bag will have more shit than that, but I can swap boxes out back and forth and just develop a system. I'm trying to work on that. So I was talking with Cody about doing that. So that's going on this year. And then I know I had mentioned earlier about I had some difficulty with FishBrain when I updated my phone. My goal, and we're going to end up talking about this, my goal is I'm doing a hard reset on all of my records starting starting in 24 and moving on to something local. Because I don't know that FishBrain stuff is ever going to go, and if it doesn't, or if it does come back, I'll take that information and backlog it. You know, but yeah, I'm a little irritated with that. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and we'll just wrap the show up now.
That was the opposite of a cold open. That was just, bam,
I know.
Fucking show's done. Here's the goddamn music.
Well,
hit the road, motherfuckers.
I realized as I hit play there, I'm like, it's probably a good idea that I did that because I think what I'm going to do is because this story from Lachwood's fucking rough. I'm going to make it a Easter egg. Is what I think I'm going to do to test it out. So we'll do the formal ending right here and do all that, and then we'll loop back around.
The Davis family, Brody is not allowed to listen to what comes next, all right?
That's what I started thinking about. I was like, oh, shit. But it'll be all right. It'll be all right. It's going to be an interesting stuff. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Jigs and Bigs. I do have some guests that we're lining up. Some of them we need to still choose some dates for, but we will have some more Jigs and Bigs listeners and anglers on the show. I've got some trips. I'm in the process of planning some stuff for 2024. I've got my eyes set on Arizona. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. We'll see. That's going to be a big, long trip. That's going to be one hell of a trip. That's going to involve probably recording 2 different podcasts, one beforehand and then one maybe concluding or on the road. It's going to be a long trip. And then, you know, we're also looking at doing some stuff this winter as well. It is show season after all. The 200th episode is coming up quick. Guys, if you haven't gotten your tickets, get them now. Go to jigsandbigs.com. Get your tickets for the 200th episode. It's happening in Chicopee, Massachusetts at the Munich House. Great food. We're going to have a whole lot of fun, amazing prizes, and I'm excited because some of our prizes are actually, you know, we've got folks that are now jumping into it, our raffle prize. We're going to have plenty of stuff to give away. So hopefully you can come out and win some stuff, have some good times, and fill your face full of amazing wild game. And then, of course, Joe and I are going to be in Columbus, Ohio. And contrary to popular belief, it's not going to be a quest for meth. We're actually going to the Columbus Fishing Expo, and this is going to be a blast. Now, we've got information coming soon, full information. We're recording a live episode out there at Old Fields Bar and Grill in Columbus, and that is happening on the Saturday of that weekend. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We've got other prizes that we're going to be doing, all kinds of good stuff, but we've got ticket information will be coming soon on that. In the meantime, tickets are available for the Jigs and Bigs 200th. Go ahead, pick them up now. This sucker is going to sell out. What's going to end up happening is it's going to get down by the holidays, and then everybody's going to be, boom, get their tickets all at one time, and it's going to go insane. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Do you have anything, guys, you want to jump in with?
Oh, good. Short week this
I got
week.
nothing.
All right. Well, guys, have yourself a good one. Please keep tagging us in any fishing pics that you're managing to put out there on social media. Jigs and Bigs, we always love that when you do. We appreciate all of you guys for coming out and being part of the show. Appreciate our jig heads, obviously. Thanks for this early Monday morning live stream right here. And we will see you guys next time we see you. Have a great one, everybody. We'll see you in 7 days. And like we always say,
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.
The views and opinions you're about to hear in this next segment are not at all the views of Jigs and Bigs or the individual hosts of Jigs and Bigs.
Story time with Lachwood. In light of the holidays, I'll tell you a quick story. Years ago, when I was around 18 to 19 years old, a girl threw a Thanksgiving Eve party while her parents were out of town. The party was wild, with about 100 to 150 college kids. At that time, I brought a sheet of acid and dosed most of the people at the party. Some were aware of it, while others were not. Tourette's Timmy, however, bought and consumed 10 hits. Needless to say, he was completely out of his mind. Myself, my good friend Sean, and another friend named Patrick, also known as Catbird, each found a partner and retreated to one of the bedrooms in the house. Coincidentally, the room we chose had a couple of strobe lights in it. We turned off the regular lights, plugged in the strobes, and began engaging in some psychedelic debauchery with our partners. Just as the debauchery reached its peak, with all the psychedelic chaos and sexual activities, the bedroom doors suddenly burst open with a thunderous crash. In the midst of strobe lights, smoke from weed, cigarettes, and incense, and the intense debauchery, naked Tourette's Timmy jumped into the room. He had a UTZ barbecue potato chip bag pulled down over his head, and he was holding his genitals with both hands while screaming at the top of his lungs. The girls screamed in absolute terror and ran out of the room completely naked, while Timmy, still naked with the chip bag on his head, tried to stop them, claiming to be the Thanksgiving turkey. After the girls escaped, Timmy turned his attention towards us, still in his demented Tourette's state. He pounced on Catbird, who was trying to put his pants on, and put him in a rear naked choke. Catbird, half naked and choked, fought back. Before Timmy could attack either Sean or me, we, still naked and caught off guard, jumped on him. I managed to get on his back and held on tight as he tried to throw me off while Sean delivered blows whenever he could. After being thrown against every wall and piece of furniture in the room and taking a few hits from Sean, Timmy was left naked, battered, bruised, sweaty, and even more confused due to the trip. Finally, I was able to choke him out by getting under his chin. All of this chaos was happening while the strobe lights continued to flash, and the screaming, yelling, punching, kicking, and furniture bashing attracted a large crowd of tripped-out partygoers. The doorway to the room was filled with shocked, terrified, and amazed partygoers witnessing their first encounter with Tourette's Timmy. The end.